Well, hello and welcome. So glad you're here. In today's video, I'm going to talk about 6 personal boundaries and why it's important to honor them. And we could say, well, what are boundaries? Boundaries are like rules of the game when it comes to relationships with other people and how we communicate ourselves to other people. Boundaries define who we are. If we honor them, we know ourselves, so we can let other people know our likes and dislikes. But we can also know other people when they express their boundaries. So really important for knowing one another. So I'm going to just quickly go through 6 types of boundaries, and I invite you to sort of just reflect on where you are in each of these categories and how you're feeling about your boundaries as I go through them. So the first boundary is our verbal boundaries, and this could include the way we talk to others, the language we use, the words we use, and how people talk to us. And maybe you could say on what we put up, how we allow other people to speak to us, and how we speak to other people. Then we move on to physical boundaries. And these are a lot about our personal space. You know, it could be how close we want people to be to us when they're talking to us, whether we're comfortable if they touch our body or not. And this could be privacy too, like, you know, insisting that you not be interrupted in your own private space, say, even in the bathroom or in your bedroom, and declaring privacy boundary with other people. And as I go through these, also remember it's boundaries that we expect from other people, and also take note of how we're honoring boundaries of others. So it's always a two-way street. Third one is sexual boundaries. The big one here is consent to having sex or having intimate relations with other people. How we're comfortable with discussing topics of sex, or where we set limits on our comfort level when we are in sexual relations with other people. Financial boundaries. Here we want to consider, you know, are we somebody who lends money to people and never see it back? If we're in relationship with other people, how do we agree or disagree on the way we spend money? You know, where are we comfortable with how much we spend and how much we need to be saving for ourselves to be comfortable with things? Emotional and mental boundaries. These are, you know, allowing how the subjects people talk to us about, how comfortable we are talking to other people, about what we feel, about what we're thinking. Are we able to live out of our personal values? And can we express our views and our opinions? So that's emotional, mental. And this could include how other people speak to us. Are other people respecting our feelings and, you know, and our expressions of our emotions? And the final one is sort of the internal boundaries that we have, or sometimes known as self-regulation, or how we expend our energy. You know, so are we doing too much for others? Are we not considering our own needs of rest or time alone so that we can be balanced and okay? Or are we just doing for other people at the expense of our own health? So sort of our internal energy level, are we taking care of that? So we've got the verbal, physical, sexual, financial, emotional, and internal boundaries that we can be considering in our life at any moment. So if we don't have, and 2 things to note here, our boundaries, they're a process. Sometimes they're fluid, and they come out of who we're relating to, right? So if it could be from, you don't want to spend any time with a particular person because you're feeling they don't treat you very well. But if you put up your boundaries and set your boundaries and they adjust, well, then you might want to spend time with that person. So boundaries can be fluid, flexible as we work on them in relationship. And some of them can be just plain fixed. And you have your definite no's, your definite boundaries in areas, and you're not going there, you're not comfortable, and you don't want to go there, and you expect people to respect that. No. So what if we don't have healthy boundaries, or a lack of boundaries? And a lot of times we find ourselves in this position because we've grown up having survived our environment growing up, and we've developed certain lack of boundaries, or maybe we're too strict in certain areas, right? That we could loosen off a bit. And we're now adults, and we've decided, some of these, I need to either get stronger boundaries, or I could pull back on some of my boundaries. So we can change them. And we've decided now I want to do something about this. Because if we don't have boundaries that we feel we can function out of, it's almost like we don't even know ourselves. Like if you probably noticed that, like if you're sort of humming and hawing in how you feel about something, it's really hard to let other people know. Or when you meet someone who says, well, whatever, or it doesn't matter, in a way it's hard to know them because they're not declaring who they are by setting a boundary of what they like or don't like, right? So it makes it difficult to make decisions if we don't have a sense of our boundaries. And we can't be our unique self if we don't honor what we really know that we feel and want, and what's important to ourselves. So we need boundaries to simply be our own unique selves and to know others. There can be some very scary things about setting boundaries. Of course, we risk losing people if we put our foot down and set our boundaries. We can feel mean, especially as people who have a need to please are a little bit scared of being rejected. It could feel mean when we say what we feel and declare what we want. But let's remember that because a lot of these things are fluid, if people choose not to be in our lives, well, perhaps maybe it's a better thing that they're not in our life, because if we're not feeling good around them or we clash, then it might be better to not be part of each other's lives. If the person's initial reaction is to pull away, maybe they will consider your boundaries and then come back into your life with respecting them. So there's so much more benefit to expressing our boundaries, really, than there is to what we fear might happen. Yeah, and let's talk about the benefits actually right now, and that is way better communication in our relationships. When we can really feel heard and be seen, the relationship is just that much better. We get to know ourselves. When we really honor what we're feeling inside about something, and then we speak it and expect it, for it to be respected from others, there's a real grounding, there's a real sense of who you are, and confidence can really be built in honoring what it is that you need and what you want from other people. We get to share the load of life. We're not doing too much. We can actually say to other people, I need help, or, I don't want to be doing so much. I need you to support me in this. And it creates more balance within ourselves. And it just makes us feel more confident, more honored in our life, and just so much more ease and joy when we're not holding back and resisting who we are and what we want and what we need. I just want to quote from Brene Brown, that the risk of not standing firm in our boundaries. And she says, when we fail to set boundaries and hold people accountable, we feel used and mistreated. And I think this is really what drives some of us to say, enough is enough. I want to start learning how to set boundaries now because I don't want to feel this way anymore. And really important to know that it's never too late to start setting boundaries, to start getting support for what you need. So I encourage you to sign up for a free mini coaching session if this is something that you would really like to get some support on, because it can be a scary process. And also subscribe to this channel if you're enjoying the content that I'm sharing. And also I have offered a free guided body scan that you can sign up and download for your enjoyment. And you can find a link for all these things below the video. So I want to thank you for watching. And until next time, please do take care of yourself. And bye for now.